Rafael Nadal. Rafa Nadal Parera is a Spanish professional tennis player. He is widely regarded as the greatest clay court player in history, and owing to his dominance and success on this surface, he has been called the King of Clay. His evolution into an all-court threat has established him as one of the greatest players in tennis history, with some considering Nadal to be the greatest male player of all time. Nadal has won 14 Grand Slam singles titles, the 2008 Olympic gold medal in singles, an all-time record of 30 ATP World Tour Masters 1000 titles, tied with Novak Djokovic, and a record 18 ATP World Tour 500 tournaments. He was also a member of the winning Spain Davis Cup team in 2004, 2008, 2009, and 2011. In 2010, he became the 7th male player in history and youngest of 5 in the Open era to achieve the career Grand Slam at age 24. He is the 2nd male player, after Andre Agassi, to complete the singles career Golden Slam. In 2011, Nadal was named the Laureus World Sportsman of the Year. The left-hander is the 6th player in the Open era to reach more than 100 finals on the ATP World Tour. Nadal and Mats Wilander are the only 2 male players who have won at least 2 Grand Slam titles on 3 different surfaces: hard court, grass, and clay. By winning the 2014 French Open, Nadal became the 3rd player to win a single Grand Slam tournament 9 times, and the first male to win at least one Grand Slam tournament for 10 consecutive years, breaking the record of 8 consecutive years previously shared by Bjorn Borg, Pete Sampras, and Roger Federer. By winning the Monte Carlo Masters in 2012, Nadal became the only male player in the Open era to win a tournament 8 consecutive times. Nadal is the only male player in tennis history to win 1 Grand Slam and at least 1 Masters 1000 title for 10 consecutive years from 2005 to 2014. He beat Guillermo Vilas' Open era record of 49 clay court titles by winning the Monte Carlo Masters in 2017. Nadal became the first man to win the same tournament 10 times by winning the Monte Carlo Masters in 2017. He repeated this historic achievement by winning the Barcelona Open Banco Sabadell for a 10th time, just a few weeks later. Early life. Rafael Nadal was born in Manacor, Balearic Islands, Spain. His father, Sebastian Nadal, is a businessman who owns an insurance company and a glass and window company, Bides Mallorca, and manages his own restaurant, Sa Puntua. His mother is Ana Maria Parera, a housewife. He has a younger sister named Maria Isabel. His uncle, Miguel Angel Nadal, is a retired professional footballer, who played for RC de Mallorca, FC Barcelona, and the Spanish national team. Nadal supports football clubs Real Madrid and RC de Mallorca. Recognizing that Nadal had a natural talent for tennis, another uncle, Tony Nadal, a former professional tennis player, introduced him to tennis when he was 3 years old. At age 8, Nadal won an under-12 regional tennis championship at a time when he was also a promising football player. This made Tony Nadal intensify training, and at that time he encouraged Nadal to play left-handed for a natural advantage on the tennis court, as he noticed Nadal played forehand shots with 2 hands. This may be due to the fact he is ambidextrous, playing tennis with his left hand and writing with his right. When Nadal was 12, he won the Spanish and European tennis titles in his age group and was playing tennis and football all the time. Nadal's father made him choose between football and tennis so that his schoolwork would not deteriorate entirely. Nadal said, "I chose tennis. Football had to stop straight away." When he was 14, The Spanish Tennis Federation requested that he leave Mallorca and move to Barcelona to continue his tennis training. Nadal's family turned down this request, partly because they feared it would hurt his education, but also because Tony said that, "I don't want to believe that you have to go to America or other places to be a good athlete. You can do it from your home." The decision to stay home meant that Nadal received less financial support from the federation. Instead, Nadal's father covered the costs. In May 2001, he defeated former Grand Slam tournament champion Pat Cash in a clay court exhibition match. Nadal turned professional at the age of 15 and participated in 2 events on the ITF Junior circuit. In 2002, at the age of 16, Nadal reached the semi-finals of the boys' singles tournament at Wimbledon, in his first ITF Junior event. In the same year he helped Spain defeat the US in the final of the Junior Davis Cup in his second and final appearance on the ITF Junior circuit. In 2003, he won the ATP Newcomer of the Year award. By the age of 17, he beat Roger Federer the first time they played, and became the youngest man to reach the 3rd round at Wimbledon since Boris Becker. At 19, Nadal won the French Open the first time he played it, a feat not accomplished in Paris for more than 20 years. He eventually won it the first 4 times he played at Roland Garros. Early in his career, Nadal became known for his habit of biting the trophies he won. 2002 to 2004. On the 29th of April 2002, at 15 years and 10 months, the world number 762 Nadal won his first ATP match, defeating Ramon Delgado, and became the 9th player in the Open era to do so before the age of 16. The following year, Nadal won 2 challenger titles and finished the year in the top 50. At his Wimbledon debut in 2003, Nadal became the youngest man to reach the 3rd round since Boris Becker in 1984. Nadal reached the 3rd round of the 2004 Australian Open, where he lost in 3 sets against Australian Leighton Hewitt. Interestingly, had he won, he would have faced Roger Federer in the next round. Later that year, Nadal played his first match against world number 1 Roger Federer at the 2004 Miami Masters, and won in straight sets, before losing to Fernando Gonzalez in the 4th round. He was one of the 6 players who defeated Federer that year. He missed most of the clay court season, including the French Open, because of a stress fracture in his left ankle. Nadal, at 18 years and 6 months, became the youngest player to register a singles victory in a Davis Cup final for a winning nation, by beating world number 2 Andy Roddick. He helped Spain clinch the 2004 title over the United States in a 3-2 win. He finished the year ranked world number 51. 2005, first Grand Slam title. At the 2005 Australian Open, Nadal lost in the 4th round to eventual runner-up Leighton Hewitt. 2 months later, Nadal reached the final of the 2005 Miami Masters, and despite being 2 points from a straight sets victory, he was defeated in 5 sets by world number 1 Roger Federer. Both performances were considered to be breakthroughs for Nadal. He then dominated the spring clay court season. He won 24 consecutive singles matches, which broke Andre Agassi's Open-era record of consecutive match wins for a male teenager. Nadal won the Torneo Conjugado in Barcelona, and beat 2004 French Open runner-up Guillermo Coria in the finals of the 2005 Monte Carlo Masters, and the 2005 Rome Masters. These victories raised his ranking to world number 5 and made him one of the favorites at his career first French Open. On his 19th birthday, Nadal defeated Federer in the 2005 French Open semi-finals, being one of only 4 players who defeated the top-seeded player that year. 2 days later, he defeated Mariano Puerta in the final, becoming the second male player after Mateusz Welander to win the French Open on his first attempt. He also became the first teenager to win a Grand Slam singles title since Pete Sampras won the 1990 US Open at age 19. Winning the French Open improved Nadal's ranking to world number 3. 3 days after his victory in Paris, Nadal's 24-match winning streak was snapped in the first round of the grass-court Jerry Weber Open in Halle, Germany, where he lost to the German Alexander Wasker. He then lost in the second round of 2005 Wimbledon to Gilles Muller of Luxembourg. Immediately after Wimbledon, Nadal won 16 consecutive matches and 3 consecutive tournaments, bringing his ranking to world number 2 on the 25th of July 2005. Nadal started his North American summer hardcourt season by defeating Agassi in the final of the 2005 Canada Masters, but lost in the first round of the 2005 Cincinnati Masters. Nadal was seeded second at the 2005 US Open, where he was upset in the third round by world number 49 James Blake in 4 sets. In September, he defeated Coria in the final of the China Open in Beijing and won both of his Davis Cup matches against Italy. In October, he won his 4th ATP Masters Series title of the year, defeating Ivan Lubasuk in the final of the 2005 Madrid Masters. He then suffered a foot injury that prevented him from competing in the year-ending Tennis Masters Cup. Both Nadal and Federer won 11 singles titles and 4 ATP Masters Series titles in 2005. Nadal broke Mats Wielander's previous teenage record of 9 in 1983. 9 of Nadal's titles were on clay, and the remainder were on hard courts. Nadal won 79 matches, second only to Federer's 81. Nadal won the Golden Bagel Award for 2005, with 11 6-0 sets during the year. Also, he earned the highest year-end ranking ever by a Spaniard and the ATP Most Improved Player of the Year award. 2006 second French Open title. Nadal missed the Australian Open because of a foot injury. In February, he lost in the semi-finals of the first tournament he played, the Open 13 tournament in Marseille, France. 2 weeks later, he handed Roger Federer his first loss of the year in the final of the Dubai Duty-Free Men's Open. To complete the spring hardcourt season, Nadal was upset in the semi-finals of the Pacific Life Open in Indian Wells, California, by James Blake, and was upset in the second round of the 2006 Miami Masters on European clay. Nadal won all 4 tournaments he entered in 24 consecutive matches. He defeated Federer in the final of the Masters Series Monte Carlo in 4 sets. The following week, he defeated Tommy Robredo in the final of the Open Saber del Atlántico tournament in Barcelona. After a 1-week break, Nadal won the Masters Series Internazionale BNLD Italia in Rome, defeating Federer in a 5th-set tiebreaker in the final, after saving 2 match points, and equaling Bjorn Borg's tally of 16 ATP titles won as a teenager. Nadal broke Argentinian Guillermo Vilas' 29-year male record of 53 consecutive clay court match victories by winning his first-round match at the French Open. Vilas presented Nadal with a trophy, but commented later that Nadal's feat was less impressive than his own, because Nadal's winning streak covered 2 years, and was accomplished by adding easy tournaments to his schedule. Nadal went on to play Federer in the final of the French Open. The first 2 sets of the match were hardly competitive, as the rivals traded 6-1 sets. Nadal won the third set easily and served for the match in the fourth set before Federer broke him and forced a tiebreaker. Nadal won the tiebreaker and became the first player to defeat Federer in a Grand Slam tournament final. Champion Nadal injured his shoulder while playing a quarter-final match against Leighton Hewitt at the Artois Championships, played on grass at the Queen's Club in London. Nadal was unable to complete the match, which ended his 26-match winning streak. Nadal was seeded second at Wimbledon, but was 2 points from defeat against American qualifier Robert Kendrick in the second round, before coming back to win in 5 sets. In the third round, Nadal defeated world number 20 Andre Agassi in straight sets at Agassi's last career match at Wimbledon. Nadal also won his next 3 matches in straight sets, which set up his first Wimbledon final, which was against Federer, who had won this tournament the 3 previous years. Nadal was the first Spanish man since Manuel Santana in 1966 to reach the Wimbledon final. But Federer won the match in 4 sets to win his 4th consecutive Wimbledon title. During the lead-up to the US Open, Nadal played the 2 Masters Series tournaments in North America. He was upset in the third round of the Rogers Cup in Toronto and the quarterfinals of the Western and Southern Financial Group Masters in Cincinnati. Nadal was seeded second at the US Open, but lost in the quarterfinals to world number 54 Mikhail Yuzhny of Russia in 4 sets. Nadal played only 3 tournaments the remainder of the year. Joachim Johansson, ranked world number 690, upset Nadal in the second round of the Stockholm Open. The following week, Nadal lost to Tomas Berdych in the quarterfinals of the year's last Masters Series tournament, the Matua Madrilena Masters in Madrid. During the round-robin stage of the year-ending Tennis Masters Cup, Nadal lost to James Blake, but defeated Nikolai Davydenko and Robredo. Because of those 2 victories, Nadal qualified for the semi-finals, where he lost to Federer. This was Nadal's 3rd loss in 9 career matches with Federer. Nadal went on to become the first player since Andre Agassi in 1994-95 to finish the year as the world number 2 in consecutive years. 2007 3rd French Open title. Nadal started the year by playing in 6 hard-court tournaments. He lost in the semi-finals and first round of his first 2 tournaments, and then lost in the quarter-finals of the Australian Open to eventual runner-up Fernando Gonzalez. After another quarter-final loss at the Dubai Tennis Championships, he won the 2007 Indian Wells Masters, before Novak Djokovic defeated him in the quarter-finals of the 2007 Miami Masters. He had comparatively more success after returning to Europe to play 5 clay court tournaments. He won the titles at the Masters Series Monte Carlo, the Open Saber del Atlántico in Barcelona, and the Masters Series Internazionale BNLD Italia in Rome, before losing to Roger Federer in the final of the Masters Series Hamburg. This defeat ended his 81-match winning streak on clay, which is the male Open era record for consecutive wins on a single surface. He then rebounded to win the French Open for the 3rd straight year, defeating Federer once again in the final. Between the tournaments in Barcelona and Rome, Nadal defeated Federer in the Battle of Surfaces exhibition match in Mallorca, Spain, with the tennis court being half grass and half clay. Nadal played the Artois Championships at the Queen's Club in London for the 2nd consecutive year. As in 2006, Nadal was upset in the quarter-finals. Nadal then won consecutive 5-set matches during the 3rd and 4th rounds of Wimbledon before being beaten by Federer in the 5-set final. This was Federer's first 5-set match at Wimbledon since 2001. In July, Nadal won the clay court Mercedes Cup in Stuttgart, which proved to be his last title of the year. He played 3 important tournaments during the North American summer hardcourt season. He was a semi-finalist at the Masters Series Rogers Cup in Montreal before losing his first match at the Western and Southern Financial Group Masters in Cincinnati. He was the second-seeded player at the US Open, but was defeated in the 4th round by David Ferrer. After a month-long break from tournament tennis, Nadal played the Matua Madrilena Masters in Madrid and the BNP Paribas Masters in Paris. David Nalbandian upset him in the quarterfinals and final of those tournaments. To end the year, Nadal won 2 of his 3 round-robin matches to advance to the semi-finals of the Tennis Masters Cup in Shanghai, where Federer defeated him in straight sets. During the second half of the year, Nadal battled a knee injury suffered during the Wimbledon final. In addition, there were rumors at the end of the year that the foot injury he suffered during 2005 caused long-term damage, which were given credence by coach Tony Nadal's claim that the problem was serious. Nadal and his spokesman strongly denied this, however, with Nadal himself calling the story totally false. 2008, 2 majors, Olympic gold and #1 ranking. Nadal began the year in India, where he was comprehensively beaten by Mikhail Yuzhny in the final of the Chennai Open. Nadal then reached the semi-finals of the Australian Open for the first time. Jo-Wilfried Tsonga defeated Nadal in the semi-final of 2008 Australian Open. Nadal also reached the final of the Miami Masters for the second time. During the spring clay court season, Nadal won 4 singles titles and defeated Roger Federer in 3 finals. He beat Federer at the Masters Series Monte Carlo for the 3rd straight year, capturing his Open-era record 4th consecutive title there. He won in straight sets, despite Federer's holding a 4-0 lead in the second set. Nadal then won his 4th consecutive title at the Open Sabadell Atlantico tournament in Barcelona. A few weeks later, Nadal won his first title at the Masters Series Hamburg, defeating Federer in the 3-set final. He then won the French Open, becoming the 5th man in the Open era to win a Grand Slam singles title without losing a set. He defeated Federer in the final for the 3rd straight year, but this was the most lopsided of all their matches, as Nadal only lost 4 games and gave Federer his first bagel since 1999. This was Nadal's 4th consecutive French title, tying Bjorn Borg's all-time record. Nadal became the 4th male player during Open era to win the same Grand Slam singles tournament 4 consecutive years. Nadal then played Federer in the final of Wimbledon for the 3rd consecutive year, in the most anticipated match of their rivalry. Nadal entered the final on a 23-match winning streak, including his first career grass court title at the Artois Championship staged at the Queen's Club in London prior to Wimbledon. Federer had won his record 5th grass court title at the Jerry Weber Open in Halle, and then reached the Wimbledon final without losing a set. Unlike their previous 2 Wimbledon finals, though, Federer was not the prohibitive favorite, and many analysts picked Nadal to win. They played the longest final in Wimbledon history, and because of rain delays, Nadal won the 5th set 9-7 in near darkness. The match was widely lauded as the greatest Wimbledon final ever, with some tennis critics even calling it the greatest match in tennis history. By winning his first Wimbledon title, Nadal became the 3rd man in the Open era to win both the French Open and Wimbledon in the same year, after Rod Laver in 1969, and Borg in 1978–1980, as well as the 2nd Spaniard to win Wimbledon. He also ended Federer's record streak of 5 consecutive Wimbledon titles and 65 straight wins on grass courts. This was also the first time that Nadal won 2 Grand Slam tournaments back-to-back. After Wimbledon, Nadal extended his winning streak to a career-best 32 matches. He won his second Rogers Cup title in Toronto, and then made it into the semi-finals of the Western and Southern Financial Group Masters in Cincinnati. As a result, Nadal clinched the US Open Series and, combined with Federer's early round losses in both of those tournaments, finally earned the world #1 ranking on the 18th of August, officially ending Federer's record 4.5-year reign at the top. At the 2008 Beijing Olympics, Nadal defeated Novak Djokovic in the semi-finals, and Fernando Gonzalez of Chile in the final to win his first Olympic gold medal. Nadal became the first male player ranked in the top 5 to win the gold medal. At the US Open, Nadal was the top-seeded player for the first time at a Grand Slam tournament. He did not lose a set during his first 3 matches, defeating qualifiers in the first and second rounds and Viktor Troicki in the third round. He then needed 4 sets to defeat both Sam Querrey in the 4th round and Mardy Fish in the quarterfinals. In the semi-finals, he lost to eventual runner-up Andy Murray. Later in the year in Madrid, Nadal helped Spain defeat the United States in the Davis Cup semi-finals. At the Matua Madrilena Masters in Madrid, Nadal lost in the semi-finals to Gilles Simon. However, his performance at the event guaranteed that he would become the first Spaniard during the Open era to finish the year as the world #1. On the 24th of October at the Campo Amor Theatre in Oviedo, Spain, Nadal was given the Prince of Asturias Award for Sports, in recognition of his achievements in tennis. 2 weeks after the Madrid Masters, at the BNP Paribas Masters in France, Nadal reached the quarterfinals, where he faced Nikolai Davydenko. Nadal lost the first set 6-1, before retiring in the second with a knee injury. The following week, Nadal announced his withdrawal from the year-ending Tennis Masters Cup in Shanghai, citing tendinitis of the knee. On the 10th of November, Nadal withdrew from Spain's Davis Cup final against Argentina, as his knee injury had not healed completely. 2009 Australian Open title, loss at French Open. Nadal's first official ATP Tour event for the year was the 250 Series Qatar Open in Doha. After his first-round match with Fabrice Santoro, Nadal was awarded the 2008 ATP World Tour Champion trophy. Nadal eventually lost in the quarterfinals to Gael Monfils. Nadal also entered and won the tournament's doubles event with partner Marc Lopez, defeating the world #1 doubles team of Daniel Nestor and Nenad Zimonjic in the final. As noted by statistician Greg Charcot, this was the first time since 1990 the world #1 singles player had played the world #1 doubles player in a final. At the 2009 Australian Open, Nadal won his first 5 matches without dropping a set, before defeating compatriot Fernando Verdasco in the semi-finals in the second longest match in Australian Open history at 5 hours and 14 minutes. This win set up a championship match with Roger Federer, their first meeting ever in a hard-court Grand Slam tournament, and the 19th meeting overall. Nadal defeated Federer in 5 sets to earn his first hard-court Grand Slam singles title, making him the first Spaniard to win the Australian Open, and the 4th male tennis player, after Jimmy Connors, Mats Wilander, and Andre Agassi, to win Grand Slam singles titles on 3 different surfaces. This win also made Nadal the first male tennis player to hold 3 Grand Slam singles titles on 3 different surfaces at the same time. At the ABN AMRO World Tennis Tournament in Rotterdam, Nadal lost in the final to second-seeded Andy Murray in 3 sets. During the final, Nadal called a trainer to attend to a tendon problem with his right knee, which notably affected his play in the final set. Although this knee problem was not associated with Nadal's right knee tendinitis, it was serious enough to cause him to withdraw from the Barclays Dubai Tennis Championships a week later. In March, Nadal helped Spain defeat Serbia in a Davis Cup World Group first-round tie on clay in Benidorm, Spain. Nadal defeated Janko Tipsarevic and Novak Djokovic. The win over world number 3 Djokovic was Nadal's 12th consecutive Davis Cup singles match win, and boosted his career win-loss record against Djokovic to 11-4, including 6-0 on clay. At the 2009 Indian Wells Masters, Nadal won his 13th Masters 1000 Series tournament. In the fourth round, Nadal saved 5 match points before defeating David Nalbandian for the first time. Nadal defeated Juan Martín del Potro in the quarterfinals and Andy Roddick in the semi-finals, before defeating Murray in the final. The next ATP Tour event was the 2009 Miami Masters. Nadal advanced to the quarterfinals, where he again faced Argentinian Del Potro, this time losing the match. This was the first time Del Potro had defeated Nadal in 5 career matches. Nadal began his European clay court season at the 2009 Monte Carlo Masters, where he won a record 5th consecutive singles title there. He defeated Novak Djokovic in the final for his 5th consecutive win, a record in the Open era. Nadal is the first male player to win the same ATP Master Series event for 5 consecutive years. Nadal then competed in the ATP 500 event in Barcelona. He advanced to his 5th consecutive Barcelona final, where he faced David Ferrer. Nadal went on to beat Ferrer to record 5 consecutive Barcelona victories. At the Rome Masters, Nadal reached the final, where he defeated Novak Djokovic to improve his overall record to 13-4, and clay record to 8-0 against the Serb. He became the first player to win 4 Rome titles. Miami, Florida, United States. After winning 2 clay court masters, he participated in the Madrid Open. He lost to Roger Federer in the final. This was the first time that Nadal had lost to Federer since the semi-finals of the 2007 Tennis Masters Cup. On the 19th of May, the ATP World Tour announced that Nadal was the first player out of 8 to qualify for the 2009 ATP World Tour Finals, to be played at the O2 Arena in London. By beating Leighton Hewitt in the 3rd round of 2009 French Open, Nadal set a record of 31 consecutive wins at Roland Garros, beating the previous record of 28 by Bjorn Borg. Nadal had won 32 consecutive sets at Roland Garros, the second longest winning streak in the tournament's history, behind Bjorn Borg's record of 41 consecutive sets. This run came to an end on the 31st of May 2009, when Nadal lost to eventual runner-up, Robin Soderling, in the 4th round. This was Nadal's first and, until 2015, only loss at the French Open. After his surprise defeat at Roland Garros, Nadal withdrew from the Aegon Championships. It was confirmed that Nadal was suffering from tendinitis in both of his knees. On the 19th of June, Nadal withdrew from the 2009 Wimbledon Championship, citing his recurring knee injury. He was the first champion not to defend the title since Goran Ivanisevic in 2001. Roger Federer went on to win the title, and Nadal consequently dropped back to world number 2 on the 6th of July 2009. Nadal later announced his withdrawal from the Davis Cup. On the 4th of August, Nadal's uncle, Tony Nadal, confirmed that Nadal would return to play at the Rogers Cup in Montreal. There, in his first tournament since Roland Garros, Nadal lost in the quarterfinals to Juan Martín del Potro. With this loss, He relinquished the number 2 spot to Andy Murray on the 17th of August 2009, ranking outside the top 2 for the first time since the 25th of July 2005. In the quarter-finals of the US Open, he defeated Fernando Gonzalez in a rain-delayed encounter. However, like his previous US Open campaign, he fell in the semi-finals, this time losing to eventual champion Juan Martín del Potro. Despite the loss, he regained the number 2 ranking after Andy Murray's early exit. At the World Tour Finals, Nadal lost all 3 of his matches against Robin Soderling, Nikolai Davydenko, and Novak Djokovic respectively, without winning a set. In December, Nadal participated in the second Davis Cup final of his career. He defeated Tomas Berdych in his first singles rubber to give the Spanish Davis Cup team their first point in the tie, after the Spanish Davis Cup team had secured its 4th Davis Cup victory. Nadal defeated Jan Hajek in the first Davis Cup dead rubber of his career. The win gave Nadal his 14th consecutive singles victory at Davis Cup. Nadal finished the year as number 2 for the 4th time in 5 years. Nadal won the Golden Bagel Award for the 3rd time in 2009, with 9 6-0 sets during the year. In doing so, he set a new record of award wins, since matched only by Novak Djokovic. 2010, return to number 1 and career Grand Slam. Nadal began the year by participating in the Capitola World Tennis Championship in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. He defeated compatriot David Ferrer to reach his second final in the exhibition tournament. In the final, Nadal defeated Robin Soderling in straight sets. Nadal participated in an Australian Open warm-up tournament, the Qatar ExxonMobil Open ATP 250 event in Doha, where he lost in the finals to Nikolai Davydenko. In the Australian Open, Nadal defeated Peter Luchak, Likas Lako, Philip Kohlschreiber, and Ivo Karlovic. In the quarter-finals, Nadal pulled out at 3-0 down in the 3rd set against Andy Murray, having lost the first 2 sets. After examining Nadal's knees, doctors told him that he should take 2 weeks of rest, and then 2 weeks of rehabilitation. Nadal reached the semi-finals in singles at the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells, where he was the defending champion. However, eventual champion Ivan Lubasic defeated him in 3 sets. He and countryman Lopez won the doubles title, though, as wildcard entrants against number 1 seeds Daniel Nestor and Nenad Zimonjic. This boosted his doubles ranking 175 places to world number 66, whereas he was 241st before Indian Wells. After Indian Wells, Nadal reached the semi-finals of the Sony Ericsson Open, where he lost to eventual champion Andy Roddick in 3 sets. Nadal reached the final of the Monte Carlo Rolex Masters in Monaco, after beating fellow Spaniard David Ferrer in the semi-finals. This was Nadal's first tour final since Doha earlier in the year. He won the final in straight sets over his compatriot Fernando Verdasco. He lost 14 games throughout all 5 matches, the fewest he had ever lost en route to a championship. And the final was the shortest Masters 1000 final in terms of games. With this win, Nadal became the first player in the Open era to win a tournament title for 6 straight years. Unlike in previous years, Nadal next chose to skip the Barcelona tournament, and his next tournament was the 2010 Internazionale BNL d'Italia. He defeated Philip Kohlschreiber, Victor Hanescu, and Stanleys Wawrinka, all in straight sets, to win his 57th straight match in April. In the semi-finals, he faced a resilient Ernest Gulbis, who defeated Roger Federer earlier in the tournament, and took Nadal to 3 sets for the first time this clay court season. Nadal eventually prevailed in 2 hours and 40 minutes. He then defeated compatriot David Ferrer in the final for his 5th title at Rome to equal Andre Agassi's record of winning 17 ATP Masters titles. Madrid, Spain. Nadal then entered the 2010 Matua Madrilena Madrid Open, where he had finished runner-up the previous year, being one of the top 8 seeds. He received a bye in the first round. In the second round, he defeated qualifier Alexander Dolgopolov in straight sets. He then played the American John Isner. Nadal comfortably came through in straight sets. He defeated Gael Monfils in the quarterfinals, and his countryman Nicolas Almagro in the next round, who was playing in his first Masters 1000 semi-final. The first set of his match against Almagro would be just the second set he lost on clay up to this point in 2010. Nadal then defeated longtime rival Roger Federer, avenging his 2009 finals loss to Federer. The win gave him his 18th Masters title, breaking the all-time record. He became the first player to win all 3 clay court Masters titles in a single year, and the first player to win 3 consecutive Masters events. Nadal moved back to number 2 the following day. Entering the French Open, many were expecting another Nadal-Federer final. However, this became impossible when rival Robin Soderling defeated Federer in the quarterfinals. The failure of Federer to reach the semi-finals allowed Nadal to regain the world number 1 ranking if he were to win the tournament. Nadal advanced to the final and defeated Soderling. The win gave Nadal his 7th Grand Slam tournament title, tying him with John McEnroe, John Newcombe, and Mats Wilander on the all-time list, and allowed Nadal to reclaim the position of world number 1, denying his biggest rival Roger Federer the all-time record for weeks at number 1. By this win, Nadal became the first man to win the 3 Masters series on clay and the French Open. The victory at Roland Garros marked the second time that Nadal had won the French Open without dropping a single set. With the win in Paris, he also booked his place at the World Tour Finals in London, and became the first player to win 5 French Open titles in 6 years. In June, Nadal entered the Aegon Championships, which he had won in 2008, at the prestigious Queen's Club. He played singles and doubles at this grass court tournament as a warm-up for Wimbledon. Being one of the top 8 seeds, he received a bye in the first round. In the second round, where he played his first match on grass since winning Wimbledon 2008, he defeated Marcos Daniel. In the third round, he played Denis Istomin of Uzbekistan, whom he defeated to advance to the quarterfinals. However, he was defeated by compatriot Feliciano Lopez at the Wimbledon Championships. Nadal beat Kei Nishikori and Robin Haase in the opening rounds. He defeated Philip Petchner in the third round, winning after 5 sets of play. During his match with Petchner, Nadal was warned twice for allegedly receiving coaching from his coach and uncle, Tony Nadal, resulting in a $2,000 fine by Wimbledon officials. He defeated Paul-Henri Mathieu of France in the round of 16, and in the quarterfinals, he beat Robin Soderling of Sweden in 4 sets. He defeated Andy Murray in straight sets to reach his 4th Wimbledon final. Nadal won the 2010 Wimbledon men's title by defeating Tomas Berdych in straight sets. After the win, Nadal said that winning Wimbledon was more than a dream for him, and thanked the crowd for being both kind and supportive to him and his adversary during the match, and in the semi-final against Andy Murray. The win gave him a 2nd Wimbledon title, and an 8th career major title just past the age of 24. The win also gave Nadal his first Old World triple. The last person to achieve this was Bjorn Borg in 1978. In his first hard-court tournament since Wimbledon, Nadal advanced to the semi-finals. of the Rogers Cup, along with number 2 Novak Djokovic, number 3 Roger Federer, and number 4 Andy Murray, after coming back from a one-set deficit to defeat Philipp Kohlschreiber. In the semi-final, defending champion Murray defeated Nadal, becoming the only player to triumph over the Spaniard twice in 2010. Nadal also competed in the doubles with Djokovic in a one-time, high-profile partnership of the world number 1 and number 2, the first such team since the Jimmy Connors and Arthur Ashe team in 1976. However, Nadal and Djokovic lost in the first round to Canadians Milos Raonic and Vasek Pospisil. The next week, Nadal was the top seed at the Cincinnati Masters, losing in the quarterfinals to 2006 Australian Open finalist Marcos Baghdatis. At the 2010 US Open, Nadal was the top seed for the second time in 3 years. He defeated Timur Razgabashvili, Denis Istomin, Jill Simon, number 23 seed Feliciano Lopez, number 8 seed Fernando Verdasco, and number 12 seed Mikhail Yuzhny, all without dropping a set, to reach his first US Open final, becoming only the 8th man in the Open era to reach the final of all 4 majors, and at age 24 the second youngest ever to do so, behind only Jim Courier. In the final, he defeated Novak Djokovic, which completed the career Grand Slam for Nadal. He also became the second male after Andre Agassi to complete a career Golden Slam. Nadal's US Open victory meant that he also became the first man to win majors on clay, grass, and hard court in the same year, and the first to win the French Open, Wimbledon, and the US Open in the same year since Rod Laver in 1969. Nadal and Mats Wilander are the only male players to win at least 2 Grand Slams each on clay, grass, and hard courts in their careers. Nadal also became the first left-handed man to win the US Open since John McEnroe in 1984. Nadal's victory also clinched the year-end number 1 ranking for 2010, making Nadal only the 3rd player to regain the year-end number 1 ranking after having lost it. Nadal began his Asian tour at the 2010 PTT Thailand Open in Bangkok, where he reached the semi-finals, losing to compatriot Guillermo Garcia Lopez. Nadal was able to regroup, and at the 2010 Rakuten Japan Open Tennis Championships in Tokyo, he defeated Santiago Giraldo, Milos Raonic, and Dmitry Tursunov in the semi-finals against Viktor Troitsky. Nadal saved 2 match points in the deciding set tiebreaker to win it 9-7 in the end. In the final, Nadal comfortably defeated Gael Monfils for his 7th title of the season. Nadal next played in the 2010 Shanghai Rolex Masters in Shanghai, where he was the top seed, but lost to world number 12 Jürgen Melzer in the 3rd round, snapping his record streak of 21 consecutive Masters quarterfinals. On the 5th of November, Nadal announced that he was pulling out of the Paris Masters owing to tendinitis in his left shoulder. On the 21st of November 2010, in London, Nadal won the Stefan Edberg Sportsmanship Award for the first time. At the 2010 ATP World Tour Finals in London, Nadal defeated Roddick in the first match, Djokovic in the second match, and Berdych in the third match, to advance to the semi-finals for the 3rd time in his career. This was the first time that Nadal achieved 3 wins in the round-robin stage. In the semi-final, he defeated Murray in a hard-fought match to reach his first final at the tournament. In only their second meeting of the year, Federer beat Nadal in the final. After the match, Nadal stated, "Roger is probably the more complete player of the world. I'm not going to say I lost that match because I was tired." This was a reference to his marathon victory over Murray on Saturday. "I tried my best this afternoon, but Roger was simply better than me." Nadal ended the 2010 season having won 3 Grand Slams and 3 Masters 1000 tournaments, and having regained the #1 ranking. Next up for Nadal was a 2-match exhibition against Federer for the Roger Federer Foundation. The first match took place in Zurich on the 21st of December 2010, and the second in Madrid the next day. 2011, 6th French Open title. Nadal started 2011 by participating in the Mubadala World Tennis Championship in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. He defeated Tomas Berdych to reach his third final in the exhibition tournament. In the final, he won over his main rival Roger Federer. At the Qatar ExxonMobil Open ATP 250 event in Doha, Qatar, Nadal barely struggled past his first 3 opponents, Karel Beck, Likas Lako, and Ernest Gulbis, citing fever as the primary reason for his poor performance. He fell in straight sets to a resurgent Nikolai Davydenko in the semi-finals. He and countryman Lopez won the doubles title by defeating the Italian duo Daniele Bracciali and Andrea Seppi. In the first round of the Australian Open, Nadal defeated Marcos Daniel. In the second round, he beat upcoming qualifier Ryan Sweeting. In the third round, he was tested by emerging player Bernard Tomic of Australia, but Nadal was victorious in straight sets. He went on to defeat Marin Cilic of Croatia. In the fourth round, he suffered an apparent hamstring injury against fellow Spaniard David Ferrer early in the pair's quarter-final match and ultimately lost in straight sets, thus ending his effort to win 4 major tournaments in a row. On the 7th of February 2011, in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, Nadal won the Laureus World Sportsman of the Year for the first time, ahead of footballer Lionel Messi, Sebastian Vettel, Spain's Andres Iniesta, Lakers basketball player Kobe Bryant, and Filipino boxer Manny Pacquiao. In March, Nadal helped Spain defeat Belgium in a 2011 Davis Cup World Group first-round tie on hard indoor courts in the Spirou Dome in Charleroi, Belgium. Nadal defeated Ruben Bemelmans. After Spain's victory in 3 matches, Nadal won a second dead rubber against Olivier Rochus at the 2011 BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells. Nadal defeated upcoming qualifier Rick de Voost in his first match. In the third round, he beat qualifier Ryan Sweeting. He then defeated qualifier Somdev Devarman in the fourth round. In the quarterfinals, Nadal had a hard time against Croatian Ivo Karlovic, and in the semi-finals he met Juan Martin del Potro. The last 3 confrontations between the players were in favor of del Potro, but despite some difficulties, Nadal won in straight sets. He reached his third final at Indian Wells, and lost against Novak Djokovic. The next day, Nadal and Djokovic played a friendly match in Bogotá, Colombia, which Nadal won. Nadal started the 2011 Sony Ericsson Open with a win over Kei Nishikori, then met his compatriot Feliciano Lopez in the third round, whom he defeated. In the fourth round, he defeated Alexander Dolgopolov. In the quarterfinals, Nadal had the first real test of the tournament when he met the world number 7 Tomas Berdych, who he defeated in 3 sets. In the semi-finals, Nadal met his main rival Roger Federer, their first meeting in a semi-finals since the 2007 Masters Cup. Nadal won in straight sets. For the second time in 2 weeks, Nadal faced Novak Djokovic in the final. As in the Indian Wells tournament, Nadal won the first set, and Djokovic the second. The third set ended in a tie-break, with Djokovic winning. This was the first time Nadal reached the finals of Indian Wells and Miami in the same year. Nadal began his clay court season by winning the 2011 Monte Carlo Rolex Masters with the loss of just 1 set. Nadal defeated Jarkko Nieminen, Richard Gasquet, Ivan Lubasic, and Andy Murray to reach his 7th consecutive final in Monte Carlo. In the final, Nadal avenged his defeat by David Ferrer in the quarterfinals of the 2011 Australian Open. He became the first man to win the same tournament 7 times in a row. At the ATP level in the Open era, Nadal chalked up his 37th straight win at the clay court event, where he has not lost since the 2003 Monte Carlo Masters. It was his 44th career title and 19th at a Masters event. It was his first title since winning the Japan Open. Nadal shares 3rd place with Bjorn Borg and Manuel Lawrence in the list of players with the most titles on clay. Just a week later, Nadal won his 6th Barcelona Open crown, winning the 2011 Barcelona Open Banco Sabadell final against Ferrer in straight sets. In doing so, Nadal became the first man in the Open era to have won 2 tournaments at least 6 times each. Nadal was then the leader in terms of matches won in the year, with 29. He did not gain any points for this victory, however, as only 4 ATP 500 tournaments can be counted towards a player's ranking at one time. But they will go into effect the 8th of August 2011, when the result of the 2010 Leg Mason Tennis Classic expires. At the 2011 Matua Madrid Open in May, he defeated Marcos Baghdatis, had a walkover against Juan Martín del Potro, and defeated Michael Laudrup and Roger Federer, before losing the final to Novak Djokovic in 2 sets. Nadal again lost in straight sets to Novak Djokovic in the Rome Masters final. This marked the first time that Nadal has lost twice on clay to the same player in a single season. However, Nadal retained his #1 ranking during the clay court season, and won his 6th French Open title by defeating Roger Federer. During the first 3 rounds of Wimbledon, Nadal beat Michael Russell, Ryan Sweeting, and Jill Muller. He then faced Juan Martín del Potro in the 4th round and Mardy Fish in the quarterfinals, defeating both players in 4 sets. His semi-final opponent was world number 4 Andy Murray. Nadal lost the first set, then won the next 3. This set up a final against world number 2 Novak Djokovic, who had beaten Nadal in all 4 of their matches in 2011. After dropping the 3rd set, Djokovic defeated Nadal in the 4th. This was the first Grand Slam tournament final that Nadal had lost to someone other than Roger Federer, and his first loss at Wimbledon since his 5-set loss to Federer in the 2007 final. The loss ended Nadal's winning streak in Grand Slam finals at 7, preventing him from tying the Open-era record of 8 victories in a row set by Pete Sampras. Djokovic's success at the tournament also meant that the Serb ascended to world number 1 for the first time, breaking the dominance of Federer and Nadal on the position, which one of them had held for every week since the 2nd of February 2004. Nadal fell to world number 2 in the rankings for the first time since June 2010, after resting for a month from a foot injury sustained during Wimbledon. He contested the 2011 Rogers Cup, where he was shocked by Croatian Ivan Dodig in a 3rd-set tiebreak. He next played in the 2011 Cincinnati Masters, where he lost to Mardy Fish in the quarterfinals. At the 2011 US Open, Nadal defeated Andre Golubev in straight sets, and advanced to the 3rd round after Frenchman Nicolas Mahut retired. After defeating David Nalbandian on the 4th of September, Nadal collapsed in his post-match press conference owing to severe cramps. Nadal lost to Novak Djokovic in the final in 4 sets. After the US Open, Nadal made the final of the Japan Open Tennis Championships. Nadal, who was the 2010 champion, was defeated by Andy Murray. At the Shanghai Masters, Nadal was top seed with the absence of Novak Djokovic, but was upset in the 3rd round by number 23 ranked Florian Mayer in straight sets. At the 2011 ATP World Tour Finals, Nadal was defeated by Roger Federer in the round-robin stage, in one of the quickest matches between the two, lasting just 60 minutes. In the following match, Nadal was defeated by Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, and was eliminated from the tournament. In the Davis Cup final in December, Nadal had a quick straight-set win over Juan Monaco in his first match. In his second match against Juan Martín del Potro, Nadal did not win a single service game in the first set, but came back to win the match. Nadal ended his tennis season with the Mubadala World Tennis Championship, an exhibition tournament not affiliated with the ATP. The tournament, normally held in early January, was held from 29 to the 31st of December 2011. Nadal had a bye into the semi-finals and played against David Ferrer, who defeated Jo-Wilfried Tsonga in the quarter-finals. Ferrer won the match in straight sets. Nadal was then relegated to the third-place match against Roger Federer. Nadal won in straight sets. 2012 7th French Open title. Nadal began his ATP World Tour season at the Qatar Open. He beat Philipp Kohlschreiber and qualifier Dennis Grummelmeyer in rounds 1 and 2, and then won against 7th-seeded Mikhail Yuzhny. In the semi-final he lost to Gael Monfils in 2 sets. In the Australian Open, Nadal began the tournament by breezing past qualifier Alex Kuznetsov of United States. The second round against Tommy Haas, who has never won a set against Rafael, was tighter, but Nadal again advanced in 3 straight sets. He defeated Feliciano Lopez in the 4th round, then won in his quarter-final and semi-final matches against Tomas Berdych and Roger Federer respectively. By doing so, he has reached the finals of all 4 majors consecutively. In the final, on the 29th of January, he was beaten by Novak Djokovic in a 5-set match that lasted 5 hours and 53 minutes, the longest ever match for a Grand Slam title. The pair set a new world record, breaking the latest longest major singles final between Mats Wilander and Ivan Lendl, which lasted 4 hours and 54 minutes, at the US Open in 1988. Nadal made it to the semi-finals in Indian Wells, where he was beaten in straight sets by eventual champion Roger Federer. He also made the semi-finals in Miami, but withdrew because of knee problems. As the clay court season started, Nadal was seeded second at the 2012 Monte Carlo Rolex Masters. He defeated Jarkko Nieminen, Mikhail Kukushkin, Stanislas Wawrinka, and Jill Simon before topping world number 1 Novak Djokovic to win his 8th consecutive Monte Carlo trophy. This ended a streak of 7 straight final losses to Djokovic, which began at the 2011 Indian Wells Masters final. A day after the Monte Carlo Masters final, Nadal traveled to Barcelona, where he received a bye in the first round. His tremendous record on clay continued as he beat compatriot David Ferrer in a hard-fought final, to clinch his 7th title in 8 years at the Barcelona Open. The Madrilena Madrid Open did not go very well for Nadal. He beat Nikolai Davydenko, one of the few players to hold a positive head-to-head record over Nadal, in straight sets. He then lost to Fernando Verdasco, who he held a 13-0 record against in the 3rd round, 7-5 in the 3rd, after blowing a 4-0 final set lead. Nadal stated that he was very unhappy with the new blue-colored clay, and threatened not to attend in the future if the surface was not changed back to red clay. Several other players voiced similar criticism. In the last tournament before the French Open, Nadal went to the Internazionale BNL d'Italia in Rome. He advanced to his 7th final, after defeating Florian Mayer, Marcel Granollers, Thomas Berdych, and David Ferrer all in straight sets. setting up another finals showdown with world number 1 Novak Djokovic. Nadal defeated Djokovic in a tight straight sets encounter. This was his second victory over Novak Djokovic in 2012 and his third title of the season, as well as his sixth Rome title overall. At the 2012 French Open, Nadal dropped only 30 games against his first 5 opponents, without losing a set. In the semi-final he faced a friend and compatriot in David Ferrer. Unlike their previous 2 encounters in Barcelona and Rome, Nadal showed almost no flaws, dismantling Ferrer to set up another championship title fight with world number 1 Novak Djokovic. This marked the first time where 2 opposing players faced each other in 4 consecutive Grand Slam tournament finals. They also became the only players to have faced the same opponent in the finals of all 4 majors. Nadal won the first 2 sets before Djokovic claimed the third. Play was suspended in the 4th set owing to rain. When the match resumed the following day, Nadal won when Djokovic double faulted on match point, sealing a record 7th Roland Garros title for Nadal. Throughout the tournament, Nadal lost only 1 set, occurring in the final, by winning his 7th title at Roland Garros. Nadal surpassed Borg's overall titles record to become the most successful tennis player in French Open history. Nadal only lost a total of 3 sets in the 2012 clay court season. In his first grass court tournament of the season at Halle, Nadal advanced to quarterfinals, where he lost to Philipp Kohlschreiber. At Wimbledon, Nadal beat Tomás Bellucci in the first round. He then met Lucas Rosol in the second round, a player who was then ranked 100th in the world, and had never advanced beyond the first qualifying round in his 5 previous Wimbledons. In one of the biggest upsets in Grand Slam history, Rosol defeated Nadal in 5 sets. This was the first time since the Wimbledon 2005 championships that Nadal had failed to progress past the second round of a Grand Slam tournament. In July 2012, Nadal withdrew from the 2012 Olympics owing to tendinitis in his knee, which subsequently also led to him pulling out of both the Rogers Cup and Cincinnati Masters. Prior to his withdrawal, Nadal had been touted as the favorite to successfully defend the gold medal he won in Beijing 4 years earlier, despite his early loss at Wimbledon. On the 15th of August, Nadal announced his withdrawal from the US Open in New York, as he felt he still was not healthy enough to compete. On the 11th of September 2012, Nadal fell to a world number 4 ranking, his lowest since 2010. As 2012 US Open winner Andy Murray climbed to number 3, Nadal ended 2012 ranked number 4 in the world, the first time in 8 years that he has not been ranked first or second at the end of the year. 2013 French and US Open champion, and returned to number 1. 2 weeks prior to the 2013 Australian Open, Nadal officially withdrew from the tournament citing a stomach virus. Nadal's withdrawal subsequently saw him drop out of the ATP's top 4 for the first time since 2005. Playing in his first tournaments in South America since 2005, Nadal made his comeback at the Latin American Golden Swing, starting his 2013 season at the 2013 VTR Open in Chile, where he advanced to the final without dropping a set, but was beaten by Argentine world number 73 journeyman Horacio Zeballos. He also lost in the doubles final at the 2013 Brazil Open. At Sao Paulo, Nadal struggled in the opening rounds, dropping sets to Berlich and qualifier Alland. Despite the poor clay surface which was the subject of player complaints, he reached the final, where he defeated David Nalbandian in the title match of the 2013 Abierto Mexicano Telcel in Acapulco. Nadal defeated world number 4 David Ferrer losing just 2 games in the match. Nadal then returned to the American hard courts after a year, playing the Indian Wells Masters as the 5th seed. He lost only 1 set, and defeated world number 2 Roger Federer and world number 6 Tomas Berdych in the matches leading up to the final. Nadal recovered from being 1 set down in the final, to defeat Juan Martín del Potro. This was his 3rd Indian Wells Masters title and his first hard-court title since October 2010, and made Nadal the player with the most Masters 1000s wins. After withdrawing from Miami, Nadal attempted to defend his title at the 2013 Monte Carlo Rolex Masters, but, despite reaching the final for the 9th consecutive year, he was beaten by Djokovic in straight sets. He then won, at the 2013 Barcelona Open, Banco Sabadell over Almagro in straight sets. This was his 8th victory there, making him the first man to win 2 different tournaments 8 or more times each. It was also his 4th title of the season, and his 6th consecutive final. Nadal won his 23rd ATP Masters 1000 tournament at the 2013 Matua Madrid Open, beating Wawrinka. Despite previously having been 2 points from defeat in his quarter-final against David Ferrer, the blue clay that had troubled him the previous year there had been exchanged for the traditional red clay. In May, he won his record 24th Masters 1000 title, beating Roger Federer for his 7th championship at the 2013 Rome Masters. It was his 6th title of the season and his 8th consecutive final. These victories raised his ranking to world number 4. Nadal won the 2013 French Open after beating Djokovic in the semi-final and Ferrer in the final, breaking the record for the most match wins in the tournament in the process with his 59th match victory. His match with Djokovic was widely considered one of the greatest clay court matches ever played, as Nadal came back from down a break in the 5th set to take out a hard-fought 4-hour, 37-minute victory. However, because of the nuances of how rankings are calculated, Nadal's world ranking dropped from number 4 to number 5, with Ferrer replacing him at number 4. Nadal then lost his first-round match at the 2013 Wimbledon Championships in straight sets to unseeded Belgian Steve Darcy, making it the 2nd time in a row he failed to reach the 3rd round at Wimbledon, and the first ever time Nadal had lost in the first round of a Grand Slam. In August 2013, Nadal won the semi-final match in Montreal, denying Djokovic his 4th Rogers Cup title. Nadal proceeded to win the title after beating Milos Raonic in the final in straight sets. This was Nadal's 25th Masters 1000 title and 3rd title at the Canadian Open. He won his 26th ATP Masters 1000 in Cincinnati on Sunday the 18th of August after beating John Isner in the final. Nadal concluded a brilliant North American hard-court season with his 4th hard-court title of the year, defeating Djokovic at the 2013 US Open final in 4 sets, bringing his slam count to 13 and giving Nadal a male tennis record paycheck of $3.6 million. Later in September, Nadal helped Spain secure the Davis Cup World Group playoff spot for 2014, with a victory against Sergei Stakhovsky and a doubles win with Marc Lopez. In October, he reached the final of the China Open, guaranteeing he would become world number 1 for the 3rd time after losing it in July 2011. In the final, he was beaten by Djokovic in straight sets. At the 2013 Shanghai Rolex Masters, Nadal reached the semi-finals, but was defeated by Del Potro. In November 2013, Nadal played his final event of the season in London at the 2013 ATP World Tour Finals, where he secured the year-end world number 1 spot. Nadal beat David Ferrer, Stanislaus Wawrinka, and Tomas Berdych in the round-robin stage to set up a semi-final and victory over Roger Federer. Nadal met Djokovic in the final, losing in straight sets. 2014, 9th French Open and struggle with injury. Rafael Nadal began his 2014 season at the Qatar Open in Doha, defeating Lucas Rosol in the first round, and he won the title after defeating Gael Monfils in the final. It was announced in February 2014 that, after compiling one of the greatest comeback seasons on the ATP World Tour in 2013, world number 1 Rafael Nadal is a contender to be nominated for the Laureus World Comeback of the Year award. At the Australian Open, he defeated Roger Federer to reach his third Australian Open final, improving his career record against Federer to 23-10. This marked Nadal's 11th consecutive victory in a major semi-final, and advanced him to his 19th major final, tying him with Lendl for second all-time behind Federer's 24. It also marked Nadal's 6th consecutive victory over Federer in a major. In the final, he faced Stanislas Wawrinka, against whom he entered the match with a 12-0 record, having won all of their previous 26 sets. After losing the first set, Nadal suffered a back injury, down 2-0 in the second set, and although he won a set, he lost the match in 4 sets. The first tournament he played after that was the inaugural Rio Open, which he won after defeating Alexander Dolgopolov in the final, extending his record of ATP 500 titles to 15. However, at the Indian Wells Masters, Dolgopolov would avenge his loss, defeating Nadal in 3 sets in the third round. He reached the final of the Miami Masters before falling to Novak Djokovic in straight sets. Nadal began his clay court season with a quarter-final loss to David Ferrer in the Monte Carlo Masters. He was stunned by Nicolas Almagro in the quarter-finals of the Barcelona Open. Nadal won his 27th Masters at the Madrid Open after Kei Nishikori retired in the third set. On the 8th of June 2014, Nadal defeated Novak Djokovic in the men's singles French Open final to win his 9th French Open title, and a 5th straight win at Roland Garros. Nadal dropped the first set, but came back in the game to win the next 3 sets to lift the trophy. Nadal equaled Pete Sampras' total of 14 Grand Slam wins, the second highest number of single Grand Slam titles for a male player, after Roger Federer. Nadal lost in the second round of the Halle Open to Dustin Brown the following week. Nadal then entered the Wimbledon Championships in a bid to win the tournament for the third time, and to win his 15th Grand Slam title overall. In the first 3 rounds he faced Martin Klizan, Lucas Rosol and Mikhail Kukushkin. In each of these matches he lost the first set before taking command and winning them in 4 sets. In the 4th round he faced Australian teenager Nick Kyrgios and again lost the first set. But despite winning the second set, he was unable to turn the tide, and eventually lost in 4 sets. Nadal withdrew from the American swing owing to a wrist injury. He made his return at the 2014 China Open, but was defeated in the quarterfinals by Martin Klizan in 3 sets. At the 2014 Shanghai Rolex Masters, he was suffering from appendicitis. He lost his opening match to Feliciano Lopez in straight sets. Later, he was upset by Borna Coric at the quarterfinals of the 2014 Swiss Indoors. After the loss, he announced that he would skip the rest of the season to undergo surgery for his appendix. 2015, continued struggle with form and fall in rankings. Nadal began the year as the defending champion at Qatar, but suffered a shocking 3-set defeat to Michael Berger in round 1 of the Qatar Open. He won the doubles title with Juan Monaco. At the Australian Open, Nadal beat Mikhail Yuzhny in the first round in straight sets. before prevailing in a tough five-setter against American Tim Smychuk in the second round. Despite being visibly unwell at times during the game, he then beat Dudi Sela and Kevin Anderson in Indiana straight sets to advance to his 28th career quarterfinal. Nadal lost in straight sets to Tomas Berdych in the quarterfinal, thus ending a 17-match winning streak against the 7th-seeded Czech in London in February. Nadal lost in the semi-finals to Fabio Fognini at the Rio Open, before going on to win his 46th career clay court title against Juan Monaco at the Argentina Open. Nadal then participated at the Indian Wells and Miami Open, but suffered early defeats to Milos Raonic and Fernando Verdasco in the quarterfinals and third round respectively. Nadal then began his summer clay season at the Monte Carlo Masters, and reached the semi-finals where he lost to Novak Djokovic in straight sets, after losing to Fognini again at the Barcelona Open quarterfinals. Nadal entered the Madrid Open as the two-time defending champion, but lost in the final to Andy Murray in straight sets, resulting in his dropping out of the top five for the first time since 2005. He then lost in the quarterfinals of the Rome Masters to Stan Wawrinka in straight sets. Nadal lost to eventual runner-up Djokovic in the quarterfinals of the French Open, ending his winning streak of 39 consecutive victories in Paris since his defeat by Robin Soderling in 2009. Nadal went on to win the 2015 Mercedes Cup against Serbian Viktor Troicki, his first grass court title since he won at Wimbledon in 2010. He was unable to continue his good form on grass as he lost in the first round of the Aegon Championships to Alexander Dolgopolov in 3 sets. Nadal's struggles continued when he lost in the second round of Wimbledon to Dustin Brown. In early September, Nadal once again faced Fognini, and again was defeated by the player from Italy, losing in the third round at Arthur Ashe Stadium. In that match, Nadal won the first 2 sets, and previously had been 151-0 in Grand Slam matches that he led 2 sets to none, earning 70 winners. Fognini ended up beating Nadal in 5 sets. Consequently, the early exit in Flushing Meadows ended Nadal's record 10-year streak of winning at least one major, and leaving him 1 year short of the record 11-year streak of reaching at least one major final. 2016 to 28 ATP Masters title and second Olympic gold medal. Nadal started the year winning Mubadala title, defeating Milos Raonic in straight sets. After that, he entered the tournament in Doha, Qatar, where he reached the finals, losing to Djokovic in straight sets. This was their 47th match, and Djokovic now leads the rivalry with 24 matches won. At the Australian Open, Nadal was defeated in 5 sets by compatriot Fernando Verdasco in the first round, in a match that echoed memories of their marathon 5-set semi-final from 2009. The defeat marks just his second first-round exit from a Grand Slam tournament, and his first at the Australian Open. In April he won his 28th Masters 1000 in Monte Carlo. He went on to win his 17th ATP 500 in Barcelona, winning the trophy for the 9th time in his career. This was his 49th clay court title, which put him level with Guillermo Vilas as the player with the most clay court titles in the Open era. Nadal continued the clay court season in Madrid, where he defeated Andre Kuznetsov, Querrey, and Sousa before falling to Murray in the semi-final. It was only the second time that Murray has won over Nadal on clay, the first one being in 2015 Madrid final. In the following week, Nadal played in Rome Masters, where he reached the quarter-final. Nadal was again defeated by Djokovic in straight sets, although he had break advantage in both sets and served to win the second. Following Federer's withdrawal due to injury, Nadal was named the fourth seed at Roland Garros. On the 26th of May, he became the eighth male player in tennis history to record 200 Grand Slam match wins, as he defeated Facundo Bagnis in straight sets in the second round of the Slam. Following the victory, however, Nadal had to withdraw from competition owing to an injury to his left wrist suffered during the tournament, handing Marcel Granollers a walkover into the fourth round. On the 9th of June, Nadal announced that the same wrist injury that forced him to withdraw from the French Open needed more time to heal, and that he would not play at the 2016 Wimbledon Championships. At the Rio 2016 Olympics, Nadal achieved 800 career wins with his quarter-final victory over the Brazilian Tomás Bellucci. Also, on the 12th of August, he along with Marc Lopez won the gold medal in men's doubles event for Spain, beating Romania's Florin Merger and Horia Tecau. This makes Nadal only the second man in the Open era to have won gold medals in both singles and doubles. Nadal also advanced to the bronze medal match in the men's singles, but was defeated by Japan's Kei Nishikori. At the US Open, Nadal was seeded and advanced to the fourth round, but was defeated by 24th seed Lucas Pouille in 5 sets. The defeat means that 2016 is the first year since 2004 in which Nadal, 30, has failed to reach a Grand Slam quarter-final. 2017, first Grand Slam final in 3 years, 29th and 30th Masters titles. Nadal opened his season by playing at the Brisbane International for the first time, where he reached the quarter-finals before losing to Milos Raonic in 3 sets. In the second round of the tournament, he defeated Misha Zverev for the loss of just 2 games. Zverev went on to upset Andy Murray in the fourth round of the Australian Open. Nadal began the Australian Open with straight set wins over Florian Mayer and Marcos Baghdatis, before more difficult wins over Alexander Zverev, Mischa's younger brother, and Gael Monfils, which set up his first quarter-final berth at a Grand Slam since the 2015 French Open. Nadal defeated Raonic and Grigor Dimitrov in the quarter-final and semi-final, respectively, to set up a final against Roger Federer, his first Grand Slam final since he won the 2014 French Open. Nadal went on to lose to Federer in 5 sets. This was the first time that Nadal had lost to Federer in a Grand Slam since the final of the 2007 Wimbledon Championships. He made it to the final of Acapulco without dropping a set, but was defeated by big serving Sam Querrey. In a rematch of the Australian Open final, Nadal took on Roger Federer in the fourth round at Indian Wells, but again lost to his old rival, this time in straight sets. It was their earliest meeting in a tournament in over a decade. In the Miami Masters, Nadal reached the final to play Federer once again, however he was defeated in straight sets. Nadal won his 29th Masters 1000 title in Monte Carlo. It was his 10th victory in the Principality, the most wins by any player at a single tournament in the Open era. Nadal won his 18th ATP 500 title in Barcelona without losing a set. It was his 10th victory in Barcelona. Nadal next played in the Madrid Open, where he again defeated Dominic Thiem to tie Djokovic's all-time Masters record of 30 titles. Nadal vs. Federer. Federer and Nadal have been playing each other since 2004, and the rivalry is a significant part of both men's careers. They held the top 2 rankings on the ATP Tour from July 2005 until the 14th of August 2009, when Nadal fell to world number 3. They are the only pair of men to have ever finished 4 consecutive calendar years at the top. Nadal ascended to number 2 in July 2005, and held this spot for a record 160 consecutive weeks before surpassing Federer in August 2008. They have played 37 times, and Nadal leads the head-to-head series 23-14 overall, and 9-3 in Grand Slam tournaments. Nadal has a winning record on clay and outdoor hard courts, while Federer leads the indoor hard courts by 5-1 and grass by 2-1. As tournament seedings are based on rankings, 23 of their matches have been in tournament finals, including an all-time record 9 Grand Slam tournament finals. From 2006 to 2008, they played in every French Open and Wimbledon final, and also met in the title match of the 2009 Australian Open, the 2011 French Open and the 2017 Australian Open. Nadal won 6 of the 9, losing the first 2 Wimbledon finals. 4 of these matches were 5-set matches, and the 2008 Wimbledon final has been lauded as the greatest match ever by many longtime tennis analysts. Nadal is the only player who has competed and won against Federer in the final of a Grand Slam on all 3 surfaces. Nadal vs. Djokovic. Novak Djokovic and Nadal have met 50 times, and Nadal currently trails at 24-26. Nadal leads on grass 2-1 and clay 15-7, while Djokovic leads on hard courts 18-7. In 2009, this rivalry was listed as the 3rd greatest of the previous 10 years by ATP World Tour.com. Djokovic is one of only 2 players to have at least 10 match wins against Nadal, and the only person to defeat Nadal 7 consecutive times, and 2 times consecutively on clay. The 2 earlier shared the record for the longest match played in a best-of-3 sets at the 2009 Madrid Open semi-finals, until the match between Roger Federer and Juan Martín del Potro in the London 2012 Olympics semi-final, which is the longest best-of-3 set match by time. They have also played in a record 12 Masters Series finals. In the 2011 Wimbledon final, Djokovic won in 4 sets for his first Grand Slam final over Nadal. Djokovic also defeated Nadal in the 2011 US Open final. In 2012, Djokovic defeated Nadal in the Australian Open final for a 3rd consecutive Grand Slam final win over Nadal. This is the longest Grand Slam tournament final in Open-era history at 5 hours, 53 minutes. Nadal won the last 3 2012 meetings in the final of the Monte Carlo Masters, Rome Masters and French Open in April, May, and June 2012, respectively. In 2013, Djokovic defeated Nadal in straight sets in the final at Monte Carlo, ending Nadal's record 8 consecutive titles there, but Nadal got revenge at the French Open in an epic 5-setter 9-7 in the 5th. In August 2013, Nadal won in Montreal, denying Djokovic his 4th Rogers Cup title. Nadal also defeated Djokovic in the 2013 US Open final. In their 3rd clash of 2014, Nadal defeated Djokovic in the 2014 French Open final. Since the 2014 French Open final, Djokovic has won 7 consecutive meetings, including a win in straight sets in the quarter-finals of the 2015 French Open, which ended Nadal's 39-match win streak at Roland Garros, and an opportunity for a 6th consecutive title, with Djokovic becoming only the 2nd player after Robin Soderling to defeat Nadal at the event. Nadal easily defeated Djokovic in the Madrid Open semi-finals to reverse a trend of losses. This was one of the most dominating wins for Nadal over Djokovic in recent years. Nadal vs. Murray. Nadal and Andy Murray have met on 24 occasions since 2007, with Nadal leading 17-7. Nadal leads 7-2 on clay, 3-0 on grass, and 7-5 on hard courts, but trails 1-3 in finals. The pair once met regularly at US Open. 7 of these 9 appearances have been at quarter-final and semi-final level, making the rivalry an important part of both men's careers. They have never met in a Grand Slam final. However, Murray leads 3-1 in ATP finals, with Nadal winning at Indian Wells in 2009 and Murray winning in Rotterdam the same year, Tokyo in 2011, and Madrid in 2015. Nadal defeated Murray in 3 consecutive Grand Slam semi-finals in 2011, from the French Open to the US Open. Playing style. Nadal generally plays an aggressive, behind-the-baseline game founded on heavy topspin ground strokes, consistency, speedy footwork, and tenacious court coverage, thus making him an aggressive counterpuncher. Known for his athleticism and speed around the court, Nadal is an excellent defender who hits well on the run, constructing winning plays from seemingly defensive positions. He also plays very fine drop shots, which work especially well, because his heavy topspin often forces opponents to the back of the court. Nadal employs a semi-western grip forehand, often with a lasso whip follow-through, where his left arm hits through the ball and finishes above his left shoulder, as opposed to a more traditional finish across the body or around his opposite shoulder. Nadal's forehand ground stroke form allows him to hit shots with heavy topspin, more so than many of his contemporaries. San Francisco tennis researcher John Yandel used a high-speed video camera and special software to count the average number of revolutions of a tennis ball hit full force by Nadal. While Nadal's shots tend to land short of the baseline, the characteristically high bounces his forehands achieve tend to mitigate the advantage an opponent would normally gain from capitalizing on a short ball. Although his forehand is based on heavy topspin, he can hit the ball deep and flat with a more orthodox follow-through for clean winners. Nadal's serve was initially considered a weak point in his game, although his improvements in both first serve points won and break points saved since 2005 have allowed him to consistently compete for and win major titles on faster surfaces. Nadal relies on the consistency of his serve to gain a strategic advantage in points, rather than going for service winners. However, before the 2010 US Open, he altered his service motion, arriving in the trophy pose earlier and pulling the racket lower during the trophy pose. Before the 2010 US Open, Nadal modified his service grip to a more continental one. These two changes in his serve increased his average speed by around 10 miles per hour during the 2010 US Open, maxing out at 135 miles per hour, allowing him to win more free points on his serve. However, since the 2010 US Open, Nadal's serve speed has dropped to previous levels and has again been cited as a need for improvement. Nadal is a clay court specialist in the sense that he has been extremely successful on that surface. Since 2005, he won 9 times at Roland Garros, 10 times at Monte Carlo, 10 times at Barcelona and 7 at Rome. However, Nadal has shed that label owing to his success on other surfaces, including holding simultaneous Grand Slam tournament titles on grass, hard courts, and clay on 2 separate occasions, winning 8 Masters Series titles on hard court, and winning the Olympic gold medal on hard court. Despite praise for Nadal's talent and skill, some have questioned his longevity in the sport, citing his build and playing style as conducive to injury. Nadal himself has admitted to the physical toll hard courts place on ATP Tour players, calling for a re-evaluated tour schedule featuring fewer hard court tournaments. equipment and endorsements. Sleeveless shirt with matching headband and wristbands and Barbo Larera Pro Drive GT. At Roland Garros 2007, Nadal has been sponsored by Kia Motors since 2006. He has appeared in advertising campaigns for Kia as a global ambassador for the company. In May 2008, Kia released a claymation viral ad featuring Nadal in a tennis match with an alien. In May 2015, Nadal extended his partnership with Kia for another 5 years. Nike serves as Nadal's clothing and shoe sponsor. Nadal's signature on-court attire entailed a variety of sleeveless shirts paired with three-quarters length capri pants. For the 2009 season, Nadal adopted more traditional on-court apparel. Nike encouraged Nadal to update his look in order to reflect his new status as the sport's top player. At that time, an associate Nadal with a style that, while less distinctive than his pirate look, would be more widely emulated by consumers. At warm-up tournaments in Abu Dhabi and Doha, Nadal played matches in a polo shirt specifically designed for him by Nike, paired with shorts cut above the knee. Nadal's new, more conventional style carried over to the 2009 Australian Open, where he was outfitted with Nike's bold crew men's tee and Nadal long check shorts. Nadal wears Nike's Air Court Ballistic 2.3 tennis shoes, bearing various customizations throughout the season, including his nickname, Rafa, on the right shoe and a stylized bull logo on the left. He became the face of Lanvin's L'Homme Sport cologne in April 2009. Nadal uses an AeroPro drive racket with a 4-inch L2 grip. Nadal's rackets are painted to resemble the new Barbo Larera Pro Drive with Cortex GT racket in order to market a current model which Barbola sells. Nadal uses no replacement grip, and instead wraps two over-grips around the handle. He used Duralast 15L strings until the 2010 season, when he switched to Barbola new, black-colored, RPM Blast string. Nadal's rackets are always strung at, regardless of which surface or conditions he is playing on. Nadal is the international ambassador for Klee, a company from his native Mallorca that manufactures biscuits, bakery, and chocolate-coated products. He has consumed their products ever since he was a young child. In 2010, luxury watchmaker Richard Mille announced that he had developed an ultralight wristwatch in collaboration with Nadal called the Richard Mille RMO27 Tourbillon watch. The watch is made of titanium and lithium and is valued at $525,000. Nadal was involved in the design and testing of the watch on the tennis court during the 2010 French Open. Men's Fitness reported that Nadal wore the Richard Mille watch on the court as part of a sponsorship deal with the Swiss watchmaker. Nadal replaced Cristiano Ronaldo as the new face of Emporio Armani underwear and Armani jeans for the Spring/Summer 2011 collection. This was the first time that the label has chosen a tennis player for the job. Association football has ruled lately. Prior to Ronaldo, David Beckham graced the ads since 2008. Armani said that he selected Nadal as his latest male underwear model because he is ideal as he represents a healthy and positive model for youngsters. In June 2012, Nadal joined the group of sports endorsers of the PokerStars online poker card room. In December 2013, Nadal won a charity poker tournament against retired Brazilian football player Ronaldo and 4 other competitors. In popular culture, in February 2010, Rafael Nadal was featured in the music video of Shakira's Gypsy, and part of her album released She Wolf. In explaining why she chose Nadal for the video, Shakira was quoted as saying in an interview with the Latin American Herald Tribune, "I thought that maybe I needed someone I could in some way identify with. And Rafael Nadal is a person who has been totally committed to his career since he was very young. Since he was 17, I believe. Asteroid 128,036 Rafael Nadal is a main belt asteroid discovered in 2003 at the Observatorio Astronomico de Mallorca and named after Nadal. Involvement in football. Nadal is an avid fan of Association Football Club Real Madrid. On the 8th of July 2010, it was reported that he had become a shareholder of RC de Mallorca, his local club by birth, in an attempt to assist the club from debt. Nadal reportedly owned 10%, and was offered the role of vice president, which he rejected. His uncle Miguel Angel Nadal became assistant coach under Michael Laudrup. Nadal remains a passionate Real Madrid supporter, ESPN.com writer Graham Hunter wrote. He's as merengue as Real Madrid icons Raúl, Iker Casillas, and Alfredo Di Stefano. Shortly after acquiring his interest in Mallorca, Nadal called out UEFA for apparent hypocrisy in ejecting the club from the 2010-11 UEFA Europa League for excessive debts, saying through a club spokesperson, "Well, if those are the criteria upon which UEFA is operating, then European competition will only comprise 2 or 3 clubs, because all the rest are in debt." 2. He is a fervent supporter of the Spanish national team, and he was one of 6 people not affiliated with the team or the national federation allowed to enter the team's locker room following Spain's victory in the 2010 FIFA World Cup final. Philanthropy. Nadal took part in Thailand's "A Million Trees for the King" project, planting a tree in honor of King Bhumibol Adulyadej on a visit to Hua Hin during his Thailand Open 2010. "For me it's an honor to part of this project," said Nadal. "It's a very good project. I want to congratulate the Thai people and congratulate the King for this unbelievable day. I wish all the best for this idea. It's very, very nice." Fundación Rafa Nadal. The creation of the Fundación Rafa Nadal took place in November 2007, and its official presentation was in February 2008, at the Manacor Tennis Club in Mallorca, Spain. The foundation will focus on social work and development aid, particularly on childhood and youth. On deciding why to start a foundation, Nadal said, "This can be the beginning of my future. When I retire and have more time. I am doing very well and I owe society. A month and a half ago I was in Chennai, in India. The truth is we live great here. I can contribute something with my image." Nadal was inspired by the Red Cross benefit match against malaria with Real Madrid goalkeeper Iker Casillas, recalling, "We raised an amount of money that we would never have imagined. I have to thank Iker, my project partner, who went all out for it. That is why the time has come to set up my own foundation and determine the destination of the money." Nadal's mother, Ana Maria Parera, chairs the charitable organization, and Father Sebastian is vice chairman. Coach and Uncle Tony Nadal and his agent, former tennis player Carlos Costa, are also involved. Roger Federer has given Nadal advice on getting involved in philanthropy, despite the fact that poverty in India struck him particularly hard. Nadal wants to start by helping people close by, in the Balearic Islands, in Spain, and then, if possible, abroad. On the 16th of October 2010, Nadal traveled to India for the first time to visit his tennis academy for underprivileged children at Anantapur Sports Village, in the Anantapur city, Andhra Pradesh. His foundation has also worked in the Anantapur Educational Centre project, in collaboration with the Vicente Ferrer Foundation. Personal life. Nadal lived with his parents and younger sister Maria Isabel in a 5-story apartment building in their hometown of Manacor, Mallorca. In June 2009, Spanish newspaper La Vanguardia, and then the New York Times, reported that his parents, Ana Maria and Sebastian, had separated. This news came after weeks of speculation and internet posts and message boards over Nadal's personal issues as the cause of his setback. Nadal has revealed himself to be agnostic. As a young boy, he would run home from school to watch Goku in his favorite Japanese anime, Dragon Ball. CNN released an article about Nadal's childhood inspiration, and called him the Dragon Ball of tennis, owing to his unorthodox style, from another planet. In addition to tennis and football, Nadal also enjoys playing golf and poker. In April 2014 he played the world's #1 female poker player, Vanessa Salb, in a poker game in Monaco. Nadal's autobiography, Rafa, written with assistance from John Carlin, was published in August 2011. Grand Slam Tournament Performance Timeline. Nadal withdrew from the 2016 French Open because of a wrist injury, having won his opening 2 rounds. Finals. 22 Open era records. These records were attained in the Open era of tennis. Records in bold indicate peerless achievements. Records in italics are currently active streaks. Carat denotes consecutive streak. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.